I'm going to do Richard III. And rather than be focused on trying to do a particular performance that I have in my head, and you know how that is when the piece is so famous, and I will probably fall into the trap many more times than I care to think about, but I'm just going to play around with it and try to have some fun, I guess, and not feel so obligated, which is always the curse of knowing too much. So make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell. That way you get alerted each time I upload. I have a lot of stuff up because I like to experiment, try different things. If you're into whether it's singing or acting or just some advice, if you're a shy person or anything else, having problems sleeping, check out my playlist. Now, here we go. So the first line, and maybe rather than this being a attempt in a performance, let's just go through it. So as you can hear, I'm doing this spontaneously. I am not on script per se, though I have the script of Richard III in front of me. So because that particular speech I do not have to memory. I haven't committed to memory. For whatever reason, I've ignored it. I really have the Hamlet speeches, which you should check out. So anyway, so we have the first line here, and as we know, Richard III, the play opens with this very famous speech with "Now is the winter of our discontent," right? So, now is the winter of our discontent. Now, I don't like that particular reading because I already feel that it's changing somewhat, but here we go. Now is the winter of our discontent. Let's play with that. Now is the winter of our discontent. So let's imagine here that I'm talking specifically to you who is listening. And by the way, if you're not an actor and you're interested in exploring this stuff, this is how actors start. You start with a script, in this particular case, with Richard III, and you just play around with the words. So now is the winter of our discontent. Okay, so I'm not thrilled with it, but now is the winter of our discontent. So I'll talk to you, specifically to you. And 9 chances out of 10, I will get it wrong. In fact, it would be unlikely for me to get it right many times. Most of the times I will fail, and that's okay. That's part of the process of working on something. Sometimes it's not a piece that's meant for you, and that's okay. So this is turning into more advice to, I guess, a person out there who's trying something new. You don't have to necessarily be an actor. You could be attempting a new career field, or maybe just trying to make friends. It's something new to you. Anything that's new to you, it takes many failures, and that's part of the process. The people that make it seem and look easy are people who had the opportunity to fail early on. So, and then there are the few who just are born and they're naturally gifted. So now is the winter of our discontent. So now is the winter of our discontent, which is made glorious summer, right? Glorious summer by this son of York. And all the clouds that lowered, and all the clouds that lowered upon our house, in the deep bosom of the ocean buried. So all the, how do you call it, the disadvantages, or the all the forces that were against me have all dissipated. Imagine being in the center of a tornado and you're holding on to dear life, and this is in my mind what is being said here. Okay, so now it's all clear. The sun is out and it's all in my favor. So now is the winter of our discontent. And I'm gonna bring my voice down a bit to be more intimate. You see, I'm experimenting here. Now is the winter. So I'll treat it like you're my confidant, you're my best friend. You see, you're my brother, my sister, my mother, my father, who I love deeply and I trust, and who's not going to reject me. Now is the winter, and I can share my darkest secrets. Now is the winter of our discontent, made glorious summer by this son of York, and all the clouds that lowered upon our house in the deep bosom of the ocean buried. Now are our brows bound with victorious wreaths. Now I can choose here to perhaps touch my brows, which I think is indicating, but I might as well just say it because it just crossed my mind, you know. But I would think here I'm very, very happy. In other words, I've been shriveled all my life, and finally I'm opening up and I'm absorbing all that sun that was hidden from me. You see what I'm saying? So in the bosom, now are our brows bound with victorious wreaths, our bruised arms. And I take a look at those arms, hung up for monuments finally. Our stern alarms changed to merry meetings. Our dreadful marches to delightful measures. Because I drag my feet and everybody watches me, but I don't care. I've developed thick skin. Nothing hurts me. I'm cold and calculating. Am I? I don't know. Let's continue. But you're my friend, and you understand me, right? And you're listening to me. And you accept me and approve of what I'm saying, because only you understand. You understand that now are our brows bound with victorious wreaths, our bruised arms hung up for monuments, our stern alarms changed to merry meetings, our dreadful marches to delightful measures. Grim visage war hath smoothed his wrinkled front. Now I tell you what's happening. Now I give you a little history, right? Because you want to know, why am I so excited? Why am I so opening up and explaining all this to you? Why am I telling you all this? Because grim visage war has smoothed his wrinkled front. And now, instead of mounting barbed steeds to fright the souls of fearful adversaries, he capers nimbly in a lady's chambers to the lascivious pleasing of a lute. Because my enemy now is out of the way. He's weak. He's in hiding where before people feared him. He was ruthless, and now it's my time. And here I go into tell you a bit of all my disadvantages. But I, that am not shaped for sportive tricks, nor made to court an amorous looking glass. I that am rudely stamped in one love's majesty to strut before a wanting ambling nymph. I that am curtail of this fair proportion, cheated of feature by dissembling nature, deformed, unfinished, sent before my time into this breathing world, scars half made up, and that so lamely and unfashionable. The dogs bark at me as I halt by them. Why, I, in this weak piping time of peace, have no delight to pass away the time unless to see my shadow in the sun and descant on my own deformity. And therefore, since I cannot prove a lover, to entertain these farewell-spoken days, I am determined to prove a villain and hate the idle pleasures of these days. So you see, everything I have against me, you understand? Right? I'm not shaped for sportive tricks, nor made to court an amorous looking glass. I that am rudely stamped in one love's majesty, to strut before a wanting lambling nymph. I that am curtail of this fair proportion, cheated of feature by dissembling nature, deformed, unfinished, sent before my time into this breathing world, scars half made up. And they're so lamely and unfashionable that dogs bark at me as I halt by them. I've had it very bad. Do you feel sorry for me? Is that what I'm trying to do? Make you feel sorry for me by explaining to you every deformity that I have, how ugly I am? Even dogs bark at me. Do you get the picture? Why I, in this weak piping time of peace, have no delight to pass away the time, unless to see my shadow in the sun, and descant on my own deformity. And therefore, since I cannot prove a lover, to entertain these fair, well-spoken days, do you hear the irony? To entertain these fair, well-spoken days? I am determined to prove a villain, and hate the idle pleasures of these days. Since I've been cheated of everything, then I'll be a damn villain, because I hate everything about these days. So what have I done? Plots have I laid, inductions dangerous by drunken prophecies, libels and dreams, to send my brother Clarence and the king in deadly hate, the one against the other. And if King Edward be as true and just as I am subtle, false, and treacherous, this day shall Clarence closely be mewed up about a prophecy which says that ye, of Edward's heirs, the murderer shall be. Dive thoughts down to my soul. Here Clarence comes. I thank you for listening to these thoughts by Richard III, William Shakespeare, the intro to the play. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, check out my other playlists, my other interpretations of this same monologue, Hamlet, or any other stuff. I appreciate you taking the time to listen. Have a nice day.